98FM. The sound of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks. Weekdays from 10 a.m.
With Adrian Kennedy.
Yesterday during the show, we weren't talking about this issue, but yesterday during the show, a mother contacted us by text. And I want to read out the text to you. She said, "No one other than parents of children with autism know what it's like to have people staring at you in a shop because you have to restrain a screaming child. They say awful things to you like they are bold, etc., etc." That mother is Leanne. I'm going to be speaking to you in a second, Leanne. I know you're on the line there listening. You sent that WhatsApp yesterday, is that correct?
Yeah.
When I announced that we were doing this topic, I also got a message from a girl I know. I'm not going to give her name because she doesn't want to be named, but she's listening to the show as well. And I'm not reading this out to praise us, but she says, "Thanks so much for talking about this topic of autism on the show today. Honestly, people have no idea how the struggles of parents with children who have autism are. People tut in public. It literally kills me." And I suppose maybe a lot of us listening are guilty of this, where we see a child misbehaving in a shopping centre or on the main street. We see a child rolling around on the ground, screaming out of control, and we walk by and we go, "That little pup, that little brat, that mother and father have no control over their child." And we never stop and think to ourselves, maybe that child is autistic. Do we? Because we're quite ignorant. Unless you have a child who has autism, I think a lot of people are quite ignorant to what exactly it means. I want to go to Claudia first. Claudia, you're on 98FM.
Hi, how are you?
I'm not too bad. You've been listening to the show all day. I know on the other line is your husband Andrew, because you wanted Andrew's support to talk about this. Andrew, you're on the line as well. You're actually in work, is that right, Andrew?
I am, Jeremy.
And you're Claudia's husband. Okay, let me come to Claudia first. Claudia, your child has autism, is that right? Tell me about it.
We have 4 children on the autism spectrum.
4 children?
We have 4. We have 3 boys and a girl. And we've one that's nearly turning 10. He's a boy. We have an 8-year-old girl. We have a 6-year-old boy. And we have a 3-year-old boy. And they're all
diagnosed with autism?
Well, we're just waiting on the last fella.
It's okay. Take your time.
We're just waiting on the last little fella to be diagnosed. So, yes, we have 4. We are just a family that fell in that category, and we have 4.
Having one child, and I have friends who have one child with autism, they say it's very, very difficult. How is it for you having 4 children?
It's just exhausting. It's such a battle daily. Like, our home lives are so difficult as it is. But when we go outside, we need a little help. We need a little bit of acceptance, a little bit of understanding, and people that are there to help us, and it's just not there. So for us as families, we don't do outings because it's too difficult, because it's just me and Andrew. I don't have any family. And we do our very best. But can I just say before we go on, I know you're read out there, but thank you for doing this show. Thank you for raising awareness. Thank you for helping us as a family to
not at all. It's the least. It's the least we could do. We're just here to hear your stories. I mean, I'm not doing anything special other than talking to you. Having 4 children with autism, I'll come to your husband in a second. You were saying it's very difficult to do stuff as regards, I suppose, you can't bring them to big events where, say fun fairs and stuff like that. Or even to shopping centres. How does that work?
It's extremely difficult to even get in through the door at the shopping centre first, and it takes huge planning, and we need help when we go. Now, we do try and do it, or what we'll try and do is we'll try and bring one child, or sorry, could you actually talk to Andrew from the...
I will. You take your time, and I know you're quite upset, Claudia. Andrew is Claudia's husband and joins us on the other line. Andrew's in work. Claudia is at home. Andrew, thanks a mil for talking to us.
No problem, Jeremy.
I mean, I can hear it from your wife. She literally is at wit's end there.
Yeah. It's hard to know where to start. To just take up what Claudia was saying there about the trips out or shopping centres. Like it would be a very rare event that the six of us will be in a shopping centre together. If we need things in a shopping centre, one of you will go, and we might bring one or two of the kids with us. Like our eldest is pretty fine because his autism is at the Asperger's end of the spectrum, very high functioning, but the two in the middle are more what people might call classic autism. A lot of delayed speech communicative difficulties, delayed toileting, sensory processing difficulties, would have, would be prone to, what people might look at and say, oh, that child is having a tantrum.
Well, that's the reason I wanted to bring this issue up, and that's the reason Leanne, who we're going to talk to in a moment, wanted to brought up, because I want to change, if anything good comes out of this topic today, I want to change public perception about autism and let people understand. Claudia, you're still there, is that right?
I am, yes, sorry.
No, that's okay. I want you to tell me, Claudia, about it. Have you had incidents in public where you have found people being judgmental over tantrums that your children had?
Yeah, well, there was. I actually try and raise awareness in everything I do. So I'm a believer in, if I'm expecting acceptance for my children, I give it to other people and I afford them too. I'll give you an example. It's sort of a sad but a happy thing at the same time, and it's a story I tell people to raise awareness. I went to a shopping supermarket one day and I had 3 of my children with me, and at the time my second lad wasn't with me. I had the other 3 and I had the baby in the buggy, and it was actually around Christmas time and X Factor was on. And yourself, shopping centres at Christmas, the supermarket was really packed.
Of course, yeah.
And I just went in to grab the bare essentials that I needed. And at the time they had a self-service, we do the scanner,
yes,
Bipper, as I call it. So we were queuing for that. And one of the little kiosks before the one we were queuing for was slightly open, and I could see a tin of air freshener in the locker. And it was like, the tin of air freshener where your granny brought you into town and she bought 10 like for €1. And
yes.
it was the most dreadful smell on the planet of
yeah.
lavender or whatever. So it was one of those. So I knew my daughter was going to try and get to that aerosol can before she did. So of course I said to her, no, and tried to whatever. So as I put my card in to pay for the groceries, all I could hear was and the smell of this cheap lavender like filled the shopping area where we were. But the girls on the registers, they knew as well from trying to struggle going in and out. So when I took the aerosol can off Georgia, she let out such a scream that how there was a light bulb or window pane or anything even functioning left in the shop.
Really? It was that loud, the scream was?
Oh my God, it was earth moving. So at this point, there was a man beside me who was doing, they buy 10 items, whatever. And he said, wow, that's X Factor material. So my sarcasm always kicks in. I said, we are practicing very hard at home.
Yes.
You should tune in next year and you'll spot it.
Very good.
And he started laughing and the other girl started laughing. But there was a woman and she was about 4 or 5 registers up and she was extremely vocal. She made a point of pointing out, people today, they can't mind their children. They're not rearing them properly, etc., etc. Children are so bold. They've no respect. And she was really vocal around the till area. Now, I knew the other cashiers knew who we were. So they obviously went quiet and startled and didn't know what to say. There was other shoppers then, they were all looking down and blah, 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 whatever. So I let her have her rant and I paid for my shopping. And then as I was going by, I stopped and I said, excuse me. I said, I couldn't help overhear what you were saying about my daughter. So this time, like, the tantrum had passed and she'd forgotten about it.
I'd say, how long, with her tantrum, how long did this last for, the tantrum, and how long did they normally last for?
She's actually very good. We've worked very hard with her. It comes sometimes as quickly. It goes, sometimes as quickly as it comes. And then there's other times we could be blackout, but it had passed. We were moving on with the trolley. We were back in our steps that we practiced going in and out the shop.
Of course, yeah.
So she was back in routine and whatever. So when I just stopped, I said to the woman, this is my daughter. And my daughter at the time, she was 5, and I said she has autism. And I said, it's not that she's being bold or that I'm not correcting her. I said, she has a special needs. I said, sometimes, I said, when you look at a child, they don't have a wheelchair or they don't have a frame or they don't have an apparatus on that says, I have a disability. So then I asked her what her special need was, what her disability was.
Yes.
So there was silence that ensued. But the woman beside her at the cash register said, I'm so glad you said that. She said, because my heart sank that she had a 13-year-old boy with autism who her neighbour was sitting with, so she could go and buy bread and milk. So I said to the woman, look, the next time you look at somebody, could you just say, is there a little something there? Is there a little something? Is that mum struggling? You know, is that dad struggling? Is that carer struggling? So the woman did apologise, and I introduced her to my daughter. And
so something good came out of this.
She actually knelt down and she spoke to my daughter, and I just said to her, I told her my name was Claudia, and she said, well, my name is Mary. So I said, Mary, could you do me a favour? I said, the next time we meet you, would you please say hello to me? And will you please say hello to Georgia? And she said, absolutely. Now, this is the funny side of the story, because no matter where I go or what I do, I bump into Mary. I live in Lucan. I was out in Bray one day on an autism day, walking along the seafront, and I heard, "Oh, Jesus, how are you, Claudia?"
Jeez,
and I looked up, and there was Mary. So
some good came out of that. Yeah. But unfortunately, there's thousands and thousands of Marys that not just you, but everybody else with an autistic child has to deal with. And I suppose that makes it that bit easier when people are more understanding. Yeah. Because you were telling us off air, having the 4 children with autism has really, really taken its toll on you and your husband, Andrew.
Yes, it has, because we're fighting for everything. And I mean everything. Absolutely everything. Autism seems to be that door where you walk up to it and you can see it just a little bit open, and you think you're going to get a bit of help, and then it slams. And they just keep slamming, and I'm banging on these doors, and I'm begging people, and I'm pleading, will you help us? Please, please, please. I will do anything to make it work. Anything.
I want to talk about you.
Can you see the autism? Can you just see the child as well?
I want to talk about you for a moment, Claudia. Just forgetting about your children for the second. I want you to be selfish for a moment. Your relationship with Andrew is very, very, very important. Have you had any time together, just the two of you, in the last few years, or is it even possible for you to have time together?
No, believe it or not, it was actually our 10-year wedding anniversary this year, and Andrew, believe it or not, won a few bob on the the credit union raffle, and he booked us to go back to our honeymoon, where we had it in Venice. Back when then, and the person that was supposed to mind our children unfortunately let us down, so the tickets were changed, and Andrew brought my eldest son off with him, and he celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary.
So even down to celebrate. No. Yeah. So a night out together even is a non-runner.
No, we don't have a babysitter. It's literally it's me and Andrew. So we make it all work between the two of us. We're carers, we're doctors, we're therapists, we're everything. You're everything.
And let me just go back to Andrew, your husband. That's tough, Andrew, isn't it? Because forgetting about if you will, for a second, forgetting about your 4 children at the moment, the relationship between a husband and wife is a very, very important one. And I mean, every hour of the day, it seems, has been taken up with your 4 children and dealing with the fact that you have 4 children with autism.
Yeah, it is. Like, I mean, days are endless. Like, I mean, generally 2 of the 4 kids are awake at 5 a.m. every single day of the week, and I'm up at 5 a.m. with them. They in fairness, they're great at going to bed, and thankfully we don't have issues with them going to sleep. But, it's very early starts, and then, long days for us. Claudia is at home with the kids doing school runs and everything else. I'm off working for the day. Then, when you're home, every minute is taken up. Yeah, it's literally the house, looking after the kids, getting everything ready for the next day, because you have to have a routine, because there's no way you'll get out the door in the morning.
No, it's all about routine. It's all about routine.
And then back to it. Like, I work for myself, and then I'm back on the laptop then after the kids are asleep, grab a quick bite to eat, back walking away. Like, I mean, and generally, 5-6 nights a week, like it's 2 a.m. before I'm hitting bed, and I'm back up again at 5 doing it again.
But I have to say, and I'll go back to you, Claudia, you're very lucky to have each other, because it sounds like you're so supportive of each other. I mean, this is obviously a team. It's a team effort, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's my other fear. What happens if I don't have Andrew? What happens if I am on my own? How do I do it? That's another one of my greatest fears. If I didn't have him, what would I do? How would I cope if either of us got sick? How would this work? How would I cope? How would we manage? The point is, we wouldn't. We just wouldn't.
I don't know how to respond to that, Andrew. I mean,
we just wouldn't. And I wish I was stronger. I wish I was stronger at the minute. I wish I was a better person.
You are stronger. Don't be putting yourself down like that, Claude. You are stronger. My God, you're both raising 4 children with autism. You couldn't be any stronger. I'm running out of steam.
I'm burning out. I'm begging people to help me. I'm begging them, and I'm begging, please. I'm begging to get my children, my middle school, into a school unit. Please help me. Begging school, please.
Do me a favour. Stay there for a second, Claudia, because I know you're very, very upset. Let's all compose. And I'm upset myself. It's very difficult doing this as well. Listen to a woman who is so upset, and I feel completely helpless. Paul, you want to offer Claudia and Andrew something after hearing their story?
Yeah, it's quite a sad story, all right, Jeremy.
Really is.
So just excuse my nerves, though. I wasn't quite expecting to talk on the air. I was just on the way into the gym. But I said I would text. Listen, I manage a hospitality establishment in Lucan, and this sort of thing is something that we've been kind of working closely on in the last few months. With special needs cases and visitors and guests to our establishment. Most recently, during kind of confirmation and communion season, we've had special needs kids in with their families, and like we've been delighted to look after them. They're as exciting and fun and loyal customers as anybody else that we have coming through the door. So to hear Claudia's story this morning is quite sad. So listen, I just wanted to kind of put it out there. I didn't put out the name of our establishment on the text message. Obviously, it's not for advertising.
No, I want to make that clear. We rang you. You texted and we rang you because I wanted to speak to you on the air. So it's I know you're not looking for advertisement completely.
But I just wanted to say, look, our doors are open for Claudia and her family, and we've got great facilities there, but we also have a really dedicated and kind of patient and welcoming team who would help your experience there on the day. And our staff are kind of the way that, if we get a bit of a scene kicking off, they'll jump in and scream twice as loud. Kind of, they like the fun of it and the excitement of it. To put a curious spin on it. But yeah, listen, we've got facilities there, like if people want private dining or outdoor space where they can enjoy themselves, feed the ducks and so on and so forth. So I just didn't want them to feel
that they'd know where to go.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, on top of that, I'd love to invite them down to for a bit of dinner, maybe Father's Day on Sunday if they haven't made plans already, and we'd love to look after them to brighten their day.
That's really nice of you, Paul. That really is nice. I'm going to pass your details on to Claudia. Claudia, I'll give you Paul's details straight after the show, okay? Because and we'll put you in touch with each other. Are you still there, Claudia?
Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Paul.
No bother, Claudia. You're very welcome.
We'll put you in contact with each other. See, there's so many people out there that just want to help people in the situation like you, Claudia and Andrew. Let me go to Leanne. How are you, Leanne?
Fine. Yeah.
First of all, thanks so much for your patience. I know you've been on hold ages. It was actually your WhatsApp that sparked this out, and I was in the middle of a different conversation on the show yesterday, and this message came in and it just caught my eye, and it said, this was your WhatsApp, and it said, no one other than parents of children with autism know what it's like to have people staring at you in a shop because you have to restrain a screaming child. They say awful things to you like they must be bold, etc., etc. You have a child with autism.
I do. Yeah, he's 6.
Sorry?
He's 6.
He's 6 years of age. Tell me what sparked that message. Was it one incident or was it a series of incidents involving you and your 6-year-old?
Basically, the reason why I sent that message was there was actually a link with it, a picture, and it was a woman sitting on the ground in the middle of a how would you put it, like outside of a shop.
I have that. Yes, I have that. I have that picture here. It's a woman sitting on a very wide path outside a group of shops, and she's sitting on the ground and she's hugging her child. Is that right in the picture?
Yeah.
And the post says, just some advice for those with no experience of autism. When you see a child having what appears to be a meltdown in public, just walk past and keep your mouth shut. Don't shake your head. Don't stare. Just get on with your day. Your shitty look on your shitty face doesn't help anybody. And that's, well, I have to say, I couldn't have said it better myself. This happens to you regularly when you're out with your son, does it?
Yeah, it's just, the day is already hard as it is when they start having meltdowns, and then you have people walking past you and, smiling, giggling, tutting and saying awful things. One woman passed by me and says that basically, why have kids if I can't look after them?
Has somebody actually said that to you?
Yeah, someone said that to me. Yeah, someone said that to me.
Someone with obviously no understanding. And what sort of, when we're talking about meltdowns, how bad can the meltdowns get with your child in public? And what brings them on?
Anything. Someone screaming too loud, someone shouting too loud. If you're in a shopping centre, someone says something over an intercom. If the music is too loud, if you're in the freezer section and it's too cold for him and he wants to get out, and then you're trying to get something out of the freezer and you're not getting out fast enough, that sparks things.
Okay, it can be the slightest little thing.
The slightest of things. And once that happens, he'll start probably hitting himself. He'll hit his head off the ground, smack himself. He'll try to do anything to get out of that situation. He will even try to hit you, try to run off. And it's very hard and difficult when you're on your own and you're trying, and you have a trolley and you're trying to run after, 6-year-old.
Yeah.
They're very quick, So
and the last thing that you need is a judgmental gobshite, pretty much, that knows
nothing.
Well,
the last thing I need is someone coming up to me and telling me how to take care of my child. That's the best thing that I'm doing for him at the moment. Yeah. If I need to sit there and restrain him so he doesn't hurt himself or anybody else, or pull anything down off the shelves in the shop, then that's what I'm going to do. And if people are walking past and sniggering and saying other things to me, that's not helping me.
So do people actually snigger at you when you're trying to control your autistic son?
Yeah, they think it's very funny sometimes.
Jesus Christ, what is wrong with people?
And as well, what I wanted to say as well, like what Claudia said, when you get to a door and you seem like it's open for services, that's just slammed in your face. I have letters. Tyler is waiting 4 years. All he's gotten them 4 years is a hearing test. He does nothing wrong with his hearing at all. And that's all he's gotten 4 years. He hasn't seen anybody. Early intervention stops at about 6 or 7. And he'll be 7 in February, which means he's not going to get early intervention. The school has row, the psychologist has row, public health nurse has row, social workers have row, because I got onto them and asked them. Sheena House has row, my doctor has row. Who else can we get? What can we do as parents?
What more can you do? Yeah. Yeah,
as parents, what more can we do? And like Claudia said, it's impacting on relationships that we have as well. We can't go anywhere, we can't do anything. Because the minute that we want to go and enjoy a normal life, we can't sit in a restaurant and have people looking at us while the child won't sit down, because we can't go outside the door. Because the minute we go outside the door and if he has a meltdown, what are we supposed to do?
It's that fear, isn't it? The fear that, how do you control a meltdown in a place where there's
It'd be much easier if people, don't react the way they do.
People are assholes, they really are. Let me stay there for a second, please, Leanne. Let me go very quickly to Gillian. You're in that situation as well. You have an autistic child. What would you say to members of the public when they see a child having a meltdown in a public place?
Well, when you see a child having a meltdown, literally just walk by, don't get involved, don't make stupid comments about the child.
And have you had comments made about your child?
Oh, absolutely.
Like what?
I was out shopping and I took Alana out of the trolley. She loves being in the trolley.
Yeah.
I took her out of the trolley to put her back into the buggy. Alana started having a meltdown and I was told my child was a brat. And I had to walk away because if I had opened my mouth, I wouldn't have closed it.
And I wouldn't blame you.
It's horrendous. And like Leanne was saying there, early intervention doesn't work when it's not given. I mean, we've had doors slammed in our face, left, right and centre. And not every parent out there can afford to go private for these therapies. I mean, we as parents, we're trying to do the best for our kids. And we're not trained speech therapists, we're not trained occupational therapists or psychologists, we're just mums who love our kids.
Well, can I just say to you, and I don't want this to sound patronising, to the three women I have on the line at the moment, Leanne, Claudia and Gillian, you're super mums. You're not just mums, you're super mums. No, you are. You're the three of you are super mums, and the fathers as well, by the way, who are dealing with this. Any parent who has a child that has autism, you are super, super parents, and you don't deserve that reaction from the public. That was the reason I wanted to do this today, and I'm raging I'm out of time because I'd love to talk to you all for so much longer. It might be something we can come back to. It was to raise awareness to the public that if you see a child having a meltdown in public, just walk by, mind your own business, because they could have autism. As well, ladies, what I want to do, because the feeling I've got from a lot of you is that it's very difficult to have some quality time with your children. What we are going to do, we have a team working this at the moment. What we are going to do is we're going to organise a day for parents who have autistic children in Tala Adventure World. The man who runs Tala Adventure World is a good friend of ours. He is going to open that for one day, just for us, just for 98FM listeners who have children with autism. He's going to limit the amount of children that are there, obviously, for obvious reasons. The lights will be low. There won't be any loud music or screaming or anything like that. And we're going to have a day. I'm going to give you full details. We have a team working on it right now. Ladies, I'm way out of time. Thank you very much for joining us on 98FM's Dublin Talks.
98FM, the sound of the city.
98FM's Dublin Talks, weekdays from 10 a.m.
With